What kind of an organization is BLM? We're talking, of course, about Black Lives Matter. And this is an organization rife with corruption. It's obviously got all these careerists, and I would call them political entrepreneurs on the make. And I've spoken in podcasts before about how Patrisse Cullors and other BLM activists have sort of raked it in. They got all this money and they siphoned off a bunch of it for themselves. They bought real estate. They improved their lifestyle. They moved out of their lousy neighborhoods. And so this is a case of making it, but making it by capitalizing on a critique of capitalism and also capitalizing on, well, let's just call it white guilt. Now, BLM is also a kind of organization rife with all kinds of suspect characters, hoodlums, criminals. And we know this not just from their BLM riots, obviously looting, arson, beating people up, in some cases murdering them. We've seen this both with Antifa. We've seen it at the Antifa BLM events. All of this shows that there are a lot of bad characters involved here. And I had a tweet that this was many months ago where I basically said, you know, if you throw a stone into an Antifa or BLM riot, you're going to hit a pedophile, you're going to hit a robber, you're going to hit a thug of some sort, someone charged with domestic abuse. But you throw a stone into a Trump rally, you're going to hit a nurse, a trucker, you're going to hit some guy, an entrepreneur, a rancher, a farmer. So although this is a generalization, you can obviously find exceptions in both cases, but nevertheless, I think generally this is true. Now, there's an interesting case, and I find it a little surprising because there's a black woman who is the founder of the BLM chapter in Memphis, Tennessee. She also ran, by the way, for mayor of Memphis. And she has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for illegal voting. Yes. For those people who say, illegal voting, I didn't think that even occurred in the United States, Dinesh. Most secure election in history. Well, let's take a look. Pamela Moses, 44, got a 6-year sentence because she tried to vote, even though she has a pretty long criminal record and was on probation. And when you're on probation, and I know this, I've been on probation, you can't vote. Everybody knows this, but apparently this woman was very cunning. And she figured out a way to get the Bureau of Prisons to send a letter claiming that she was eligible to vote. Now, this was not, in fact, the case. The Bureau of Prisons figured that out, and they sent a subsequent letter saying, no, this woman cannot vote. She's on probation. But she has been voting consistently. She voted in at least 6 elections between 2015 and 2018, all under her probation following her felony conviction. By the way, we're not talking about a model citizen. This is someone, Pamela Moses, who has had 16 prior criminal convictions, including perjury, stalking, and theft. So you're talking about kind of a career criminal. So think about it. Career criminal is the founder of BLM Atlanta. So needless to say, the New York Times jumps in here with a headline that is so misleading that you can see that they're essentially arguing her side of the case. Quote, "Black woman's bid to regain voting rights." She's not eligible to vote. She's actually cheating. But apparently her voting is a bid to regain her voting rights. Ends with the 6-year prison sentence. So look how they're trying to make, even in the title, make it sound like she's a victim of voter suppression. Here's a woman trying to regain her voting rights, and wow, they slap a 6-year sentence on her. And then look at this. The subtitle, "Missteps by various officials put a Tennessee woman on a collision course with the law." Now, there were no missteps per se. Here's Judge Ward. This is the judge in the case commenting. This is Judge Mark Ward of the criminal court. I'm quoting him. He's talking directly to Pamela Moses, and he goes, quote, You tricked the probation department into giving you a document saying you were off probation. In other words, these weren't mistakes by local officials. The woman deceived the Bureau of Prisons, and got the letter under false pretenses. Then she goes ahead and starts voting like a citizen who's eligible to vote, and she got busted. Now, the sentence seems harsh, 6 years, I agree. But on the other hand, let's remember that you do get a harsher sentence when you've got a long rap sheet. And so here's a woman with a lengthy criminal history. And by and large, in our system of justice, that does lead to tougher sentences because clearly you didn't get the message the last time. So what's being portrayed as an effort at voter suppression, a racial disparity in the criminal justice system, the New York Times, of course, going fully to bat because this person is BLM. And it's almost like if you're BLM, you're above the law. Wait a minute. You mean to say I can't riot? You mean to say I can't burn things down? I can't pull people out of their cars? I can't beat them up? We've been doing this for 2 years and nothing's really happened to us. We've gotten token sentences or even no prosecutions at all. So maybe there's a sense among a lot of these characters that they're above the law. And so this woman thinks, well, you know what? Yeah, I'm a criminal, but you know what? I'm BLM. That's my certificate of absolution. That means that everybody's going to go to bat for me. Well, I'm really glad to say that in this particular case, the justice system did not go to bat for her. In this particular case, justice was indeed served.